Sure, thanks a lot. Super job this year. So happy to work with some quality folks and see us continue to grow and thrive. So I was really pleased to be on the Realtor of the Year committee again. We had a really good meeting. We had some good folks on the committee, a lot of good discussion. And when we tallied the votes and went through all the criteria, we were really pleased to present Kathy Christina with that award. It was a no-brainer, as much as it gets. It was very interesting because we kind of looked around the room and said, you know, is there something missing? And what we found out was sometimes it's hard to designate an award or recognize somebody for just a year's worth of service. And as we were talking about this, I looked over at Jason Brewer, and he came up with a bunch of different names and people who just ought to be recognized in some way, shape, or form because they've played an immense role as real estate brokers, as members of the community, and they've done it over a lifetime. And so what we're going to do this evening is present the first Distinguished Achievement Award. And it's because we needed to do something maybe even just a little bit more this year. Our first recipient really embodies this description. Are they distinguished? Yes. Have they achieved a lot? Yes, no doubt about it. Now, for my friends in Breck, you might not even know who I'm talking about. Okay? This guy doesn't even show property in Breck. You wouldn't know him. You'd get lost trying to find the place. But for anybody who's done a deal with this realtor, this might be a hint of who I'm going to talk to you about tonight. When we talk about achievement, it's hard not to focus in on some of what he's done in the real estate world. In just the last 10 years, according to my math, he's closed just under 600 transactions. And that doesn't happen without a rock-solid work ethic. This broker is one of the most successful in the county, there's no doubt about that. Yet almost every weekend, you're going to see him out there doing open houses, showing property, hustling his listings. He's always on the job. Speaking of open houses, I don't know of a broker who holds a better broker open house than this individual. I've planned appointments, I've planned weeks around where this guy might have an open house because I don't know a group who likes a free lunch better than a realtor. And this guy always takes care of us. But if you're holding an open house, he's also going to be there to support your open house. And if it's a house, maybe on the Ridge in Summerwood, he might tell you some crazy parties that happened there in the 1980s. Tell you about who passed out, who got locked in the closet, other fun things like that. He's very good at making people laugh. Now, my personal history with this broker goes back about 15 years. He came to work in an office that I was in, and we were both working late one night. I had some clients in there. We were negotiating an offer, presenting it and such, and it was really, really difficult. He came in afterwards, after the clients had left, and said, you know, Jason, I got to tell you, I really like the way you did that. You did a good job. You were honest. You were upfront, and it would have been a heck of a lot more convenient for you not to. I'm sure he doesn't even remember that, but let me tell you, to me, it was an incredible, it had an amazing impact on me because to me, he set the standard in ethical dealings, in my opinion, both with his clients, other brokers, and of course his team. Now, you probably know who this is, but we're going to go on a little bit further with this. This broker works in a large office. When people have questions, there's one guy they go to because he's been around for quite a while. If it could happen in real estate, if it has happened in real estate, it's happened to him. Everybody says, hey, could you help me with something? I've got a question. Everybody goes to him. In fact, I think during the day, he should probably have office hours just for other brokers to come in, pick his brain, and help solve problems. You need to talk to this guy, though, when you want to know about a property that was done in the 80s, 90s, whatever it is. Not only that, but he knows how to really keep a deal together and get it to the finish line. Now, if you would like to know who I'm talking about and you haven't guessed yet, it's Henry Barr. Would you please give Henry a round of applause? Henry, you're giving me a standing ovation right now. Well deserved. We'll go a little bit further here. We're going to have a few members of Henry's team come up here in a second. I've just told you a little bit about Henry Barr, the realtor. Let me tell you about Henry, my friend. And I was going to tell you that he's one of the most generous people that I know. You know, one of his staff members corrected me today. They said he's not just one of the most generous people, he's the most generous person that I know. And I think they're probably right. There are folks here in this room that sit on nonprofit boards and organizations. And we could all attest to Henry stepping up, supporting, writing checks, not only writing checks, but giving of his time and his money. One of his great loves are animals. And he's always given very generous support to so many different causes. Not just his animals, not just his dogs, cats, horses, you name it. But he's a huge supporter of the animal shelter and so many different animal charities. He's always lending his time and money. Other words I heard when I was discussing Henry were selfless, generous again, caring, compassionate. If you've ever been in the hospital, if you've ever suffered loss, one of the first people that you not only hear from but see is Henry Barr. Every time. He cares deeply about people. And it's one of the reasons his clients and his team are so amazingly loyal to him. There are so many realtors Henry has mentored through the years, myself included. Henry's the one guy that I know who makes the right decisions and does the right thing, even when it costs him money. He always stands on principle. He has a history of putting others ahead of himself. That includes his family, his team, his clients, his animals. He's known for giving great gifts. We've all got the peanuts at Christmas. He gives great client gifts. It's amazing. Very generous. Now, what I love about Henry, though, is that through all of his years in this business, he still loves real estate. He may act like he doesn't. He may try really hard to make you think that he doesn't. But I believe he does. He's always looking for new ways. He's always innovating, always looking for new ways to get things done, accepting challenges and finding solutions. It's for these and many more reasons that Henry Barr is the inaugural recipient of the Distinguished Achievement Award. We're going to have some members of his team come up, but let's give Henry one more round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Kate Marone, one of Henry's team members.
I'm taking one for the team. I feel funny accepting this because I'm the newest member of the team, but Christine's on vacation, her first 5 days off in probably the last 5 months, so well deserved, and she does wish she could be here. And Lynn and Diane are here as well. Thank you. I've known Henry for 8 years. I'm sure a lot of you have known Henry a lot longer than I have. Whether you've known him 2 years, 20 years, 40 years, he's the same guy. Before he was successful, now, and for many more years to come. So, thank you.
So Henry is, as you know, recovering from an illness. But I've talked to folks who have talked to him just this week, seen him recently. I'm told he's in good spirits. He looks good. And what I want to assure you about is that Henry's a fighter. So I want to ask you all to believe with me for a full recovery for Henry. But again, he's our inaugural recipient of the Distinguished Achievement Award. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.